It's time for Maggie and the Moms. Sponsored by Tampa General Hospital.
Anyone with a lot of kids has surely heard someone say to them, you could start a band, or, oh, you could have your own basketball team. We're talking about great big families today. They certainly come with ups and downs and lead to a whole lot of parenting lessons that we could all learn from. And that's the idea today. Our guests are here to share their own experiences and stories. We welcome Stephanie Rodriguez-Neely. She is the founder of the Tampa Bay Moms Group. She is also a mother of 5 children, as is Yamel Belen.
Hi.
2 moms of 5. That's crazy. Yamel is a registered nurse. She's a lactation consultant. She is the founder of One Love Doula and One Love Nanny. Deanna Moore at the helm, as always. She and I have 2 children each.
Just 2.
So we can't necessarily relate. I'm sure it does make it easier in a lot of ways.
Some ways,
But you know, we have so many questions because that's a lot of kids. Starting with, do you get that? You can have your own basketball team.
All the time. I'm like, yes, I know this.
How do you handle it gracefully? Because I would bring out the
two. And also, does anybody actually do that? Have their own band or team?
So
Maybe.
the Partridge Family.
The Partridge Family.
We've gone out and I foster. So when we've gone out with my kids and my fosters, there's been times where we're like a party of 11. And it's funny because one of my 17-year-olds that's in foster care, we're out and we're sitting on the bench waiting to be seated. And she goes, we look like we're a group home. And I'm like, well, we kind of are at this point. I mean,
so you have a sense of humor about it.
You have to. But when people are like, oh my gosh, you could have your own basketball team. It's like you have to
indulge them because they think they're being so clever.
Well, and sometimes I'm like, I don't even know who these kids are. They've been following me around. I fed them one time and I can't get rid of them. And
like cats.
Yeah. So I usually pick on the people and make it slightly uncomfortable for all of us.
I saw a very funny post, Yamel. It was yours. You went out to eat with your whole enormous family,
and the boyfriends and the girlfriend and the fiance.
Okay, so it was extra large that night, and one restaurant didn't want to seat you, and you said to the restaurant that didn't want, like Pretty Woman style, big mistake, huge.
But the problem was, it's not that they didn't have the space, right? They just didn't want to seat your party.
No, they got really afraid, and then they hear, you can see it in their eyes when they ask how many kids. So they're probably thinking that we're just going to tear the place up, which is not the case. But that's the only piece about having a big family that I kind of find annoying.
Really, the only?
I would say so. I mean, what else? The other things, I mean, we have them by choice. So it's like, I'm going to be annoyed because we don't have a lot of space in the house, or I cook a lot or whatever. Or the comments from people before, I think it was a little bit annoying, especially when we were still having the kids, where they would be like, are you having more? Are you done? So my response would be, are you going to help us? Do you want to contribute to the college fund? And then everybody
that, of course, to me is the biggest question. How on earth do you afford having so many kids? Because I did a little bit of homework. I was just for my own curiosity.
Wow.
Okay, so I Googled how many slices of bread in a loaf? 22. That's 11 sandwiches. If each of your kids has 1 sandwich a day for a week, that's 35 sandwiches. You would have to eat 4 loaves of bread in one.
Know how many
this is
gallons
an SAT question.
Yeah. Wait, and that's
very
only.
deep. I lost her.
And then I thought, what if they also want toast? That's like and eggs. You need like 1 dozen eggs a week if everybody has 2 eggs a day.
Milk and cereal. So I usually have to go to the store twice, because if I get it all on Monday, it's gone no matter what. But I do have to replenish the bread and the milk and the essentials. Because especially summer, cereal, my God, these kids go through a box of cereal a day, and it's crazy. And I love my son, but teen boys are the worst. And now that he is no longer living with us, we see
you're saving money.
We are saving so much money because, I mean, he just could eat everything. And he did. He would make mac and cheese and put like goldfish crackers in it and cover it in ketchup and put some bread. Oh God, I don't understand what goes on in his head but he would go through so much food. Still, we go through about 2 gallons of milk minimum each week, minimum. I get 4 loaves of bread
per week.
But it's also, this one only wants honey wheat, this one wants the butter bread.
Oh no, I'd be like, you're all eating the same bread.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, that's not the hill I'll die on with this many children.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and then cheese, we go through a lot of cheese.
So I hope that other moms who are listening, who have a lot of kids or thinking that they want a lot of kids but not sure if they could do it, will take away a lot from you
It's
two. So
expensive.
my first question is, how do you balance the budget? How do you make it work? Like, do you have to be a gazillionaire to have a lot of kids?
No, I don't think so. I remember when we were on baby number 4, and I've talked about this on my podcast too, where somebody imposed their feelings onto me. I think that's a lot of what we get. It's other people's fears, other people like projecting onto us. And she said, "Oh my God, you need another house." And I was like, "Why?"
What?
We will make do with what we have. I cook a lot at home, so that's where the savings comes in with having 5 kids. You just find ways that like each family is unique. So even if you do have 2, your bills may be more expensive because maybe your child needs a special medication or they need extra tutoring. So I think everyone has expenses in some way. We have to get creative.
And we're also probably a lot more wasteful. I mean, I try to eat the leftovers, but I think to myself, how many times do I make so much food and then it just sits there and then after a few days nobody ate it and we throw it out?
Thankfully,
like, you
with
don't have
5
that
kids,
problem.
we don't
You
have a
don't
lot
have that. You don't get a lot of
problem.
leftovers.
No.
I'm not thinking about the food. I'm thinking about like
Vacation.
College.
sports
Sports is ridiculous.
activities. Because when I think about just 2 kids and like one is in this and one is in that, it adds up.
It
so if you
does.
have that times 5,
Yes.
how do you afford that?
Okay, so being a gazillionaire helps. We're not quite there, but yeah, if we were not financially in the situation we were in, my daughter would not be doing competitive gymnastics. My son would not be doing travel soccer. We just couldn't with this many kids. I think there's a hypocrisy between your family and mine because people see her family and go, "Oh my gosh, are you done having kids yet?" And then they see my big family, which clearly some of them are not biologically mine, and they assume, rightly so, that they're adopted or fostered. And I get, "Oh, bless your heart."
I get that
you
too.
know, I get that all the time. And like,
And you both rolled your eyes just now.
I do. It's like,
It's so annoying.
Just why do people feel the need to comment,
comment.
right?
Wait, are
Yeah.
you saying because of like a cultural thing?
no. Just because when you look at her family and know that they're all biologically hers,
Like they're by choice.
it's
Okay.
it's almost like, oh gosh, why is she having
Well,
that
they
many
don't.
kids?
They don't know. Let's clarify that they don't always know. And I do get the question of, do they all have the same dad?
The
Yes.
assumption that,
I get that a lot, which I ask. Would you ask a white woman that?
Fighting words.
Right?
why would they ask that?
Because people are just people.
See, my
when they
favorite
see something
response-
different, right? It's different, which actually having a big family, guys, is not even different anymore. There's so many people that have more than 2, more than 3 now.
So I
I feel
guess-
like I see it all the time.
Really?
guess
I think I see it less.
Really?
Yeah, I think so too. But
'Cause
so
it's
my
expensive.
girlfriend has 5 boys, and they kept trying for that girl and 5 kids, and she's like, I gotta quit trying for that girl. But that's how people, when they see her with her 5 sons out, they're like, you need to stop trying for that girl. And they always have comments. But
You
when
need
they
a
see
TV.
me, yes. But when they see me with my very diverse family out, and it's clear that, again, I'm not their biological mother, it's, I don't get the, oh, I bet you're busy. I get the, oh, bless your heart. You know, I don't know. I feel like there's like sometimes less judgment because they look at it as like I'm doing a
you're a
favor.
saint.
Yeah, and I hate that.
Versus a
that.
martyr like Yamel.
But I agree with you, Mel. I'm seeing it more and more. What's old is new again. Because think about your parents and your grandparents. How many aunties and uncles did you have? Right. It was the norm to have like
a lot of kids.
6, 7, 8 kids, and then modern medicine changed that. But now I see a lot more 3+.
Well, that's also fertility. A lot of twins and
Right.
triplets out there.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But yeah,
But
as far
I
as
don't think
Anybody have multiples here?
know that
We should
many.
ask that. Anybody have multiples here?
No multiples.
Okay.
No, but
That's good to
my one of my sons has twin siblings.
Really?
Actually, 2 of my sons both have. One has girl twins on his side, and the other one has boy girl twins.
Huh.
Whoa.
So there's a lot of multiples in our what I would consider our extended family.
Another thing that I wonder about is you always hear, and I know this to be true from my own experience, you parent each child depending on what the child needs. You parent each child differently. Certainly true for me and my 2 children. 5 children each. Do you parent each one differently?
Every single one.
Every single
Every
one.
single
Is
one.
that challenging?
Yes.
I wouldn't say I do every single one differently in regards to like our parenting style. Our parenting style is very similar across the board as far as our expectations of them, education, how we expect them to treat each other, how we expect them to problem solve. I'm always reminding them. So I just come from a family of 3. It's just me and my brothers. And I don't feel that, like, I wish I had a sister. And I have 4 girls and 1 boy. So I'm reminding all of them, like, you always have your siblings. You always have your siblings. I want them to have that unity, because when I see other families that are thriving as adults, especially clients of mine, they're like, yeah, my sister's helping me with that, or my sister's taking off for my postpartum.
I envy that.
I want that
That's
for
wonderful.
them.
But how do you, I don't know, maybe they're just so, their personalities are so diverse. I can't parent them all the same. Like, again, my parenting style is the same across the board. I'm
Like
very
house
blunt,
rules
but
and that kind of
the
stuff?
house rules and things like that are generally standard. But, you know, my daughter that is in school all day and goes to gymnastics till 8:30, she has less chores. The other ones that choose not to do sports need to do more chores. With discipline, one, I have to take away cell phone, and that's the only way they're going to respond. The other, I can go, I'm really disappointed in you, and that is the worst punishment ever, and they will change their behavior. So, and then the things that they're interested in, one will not go to noisy places, the other one only wants to go to sporting events. Like,
For sure.
I have
That's what I
to
was saying with the
parent for
parenting
each
style,
one.
definitely across the board. But for example, William is the only boy. So there's things that we do differently with him. I don't want to be
Of course.
super different just because he's a boy.
Right.
But there are things that we do different. And I do know some of the girls are more sensitive than the other girls. So yeah, I agree with you on that part. But I feel like across the board, we have similarities, because I don't want them to feel isolated either. Like, oh, well, you let Tatiana get off easy on that.
See, I tell them, I said,
Yeah.
you guys are, you took Brianna for this, and you took Leo for this.
Well,
you guys are not
that's
the
something
same
that I was
person. There's gonna
wondering.
be
You
things
took
that are
Brianna for
different.
this, you took Leo for this. Do you make time for
Yes.
each one
Yes,
individually?
absolutely.
Because you don't want them to feel
You have
cheated
to.
because mom is
Because
spread
we
so thin.
chose to have such a big family,
But
sure.
that making time for Leo can be as simple as he loves to cuddle in the mornings, so that's his time. Even if we don't go out for something special, like, he knows. And Eli loves to drive him crazy because he doesn't have to cuddle. But when Leo climbs in my bed, all of a sudden Eli's like, I'm your cuddle bug too. And they
So there's
fight.
a
And
little
then-
jealousy.
Yeah, and then we have like a wrestling match and it becomes chaos in the bed. But sometimes finding time is as simple as that, or Brianna helping me cook. And yes, when I have
Oh,
bigger
I'm glad you
blocks of
said that,
times,
because
we do
there's a
more.
belief that when there are large families, the older children lose childhood because
Nope.
they're being de facto parents. So I
No.
wonder what you guys think
No.
about that.
I
I'm
believe in
I'm
it.
sure that the older girls will, they were actually my first guests on the podcast, because I wanted to see motherhood through their eyes, especially that they've been with me for so much of the journey. They're 27 and 24 now. And there's an article by Scary Mom about having older kids and little kids. I always say, like, my little girls, they're 11 and 9. And the article talks about, she says, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry I didn't watch you on the softball field. I'm sorry. But then at the end, she says, but I'm so thankful that your little brother and sister, you're their light. So they're not mom, even though my oldest teaches at the school where the little girls go. So people tease her like, that's your mom. And she gets so annoyed.
Oh, wow.
But I love that they have these older people that they can look up to, these siblings, and they all love each other so much. So no, I always made sure, like, yes, they did help. And I think that's great to be in this community where we're all helping each other. But I didn't impose, like, well, you have to do this because you're the oldest. No,
There's
I
been
hope so.
times where
Brianna, do you agree?
Yeah, there's times
She
when
listens.
Is yours is Brianna?
Yes.
Too? Mine's Brianna. My
Yes.
oldest is Brianna. There's times where I'm like, I need you to help. You're older. But I found with my kids, they kind of parentify themselves, and I'm constantly going, "You're not their mom."
Yeah.
They're acting
I'm
like
your
the mom.
Yes,
and you're
and that's
reminding
what
them.
happens. And again, we have big age gaps. I've got
Yeah.
26, 22, 16, 8,
Same.
6. So
You guys are in the same boat.
Yeah.
yeah,
They
so
just
they
care
try
about
to-
their siblings.
They do. Brianna is the hardest one with it. She really wants to mother.
We hear a little
I
song.
know
It's
there's
okay.
a song playing. We can dance while we talk. She really wants to parent the others, and in her mind, I truly feel she's just helping. But at the same time, like, that's not how I would parent them, and you can't parent them that way. And then what does it teach the other ones, the 8-year-old, when he's trying to parent the 6-year-old?
I do love having the older ones though, because sometimes like, Brianna, you need to talk to your sister now. So it it helps.
Is helpful.
Yeah.
If there is there anything that looking back now that you would say to somebody like that you have learned, that you have found like the crucial thing for managing a big family? Anything that comes to mind?
The crucial thing.
We touched on it. Just make sure each child feels they get your attention. Like, that's the hardest thing when you have even 2. Making sure they each feel
applicable
seen.
for anybody.
Yeah. So when you have this many, having a boys' day, but not just a boys' day. Now we've got the boys' day, but this day it's going to be this boys' day, and yes, it's time consuming. And then also on top of making time for each child individually, make sure you take time for yourself. Moms with lots of kids tend to sacrifice. I made the decision to have this many. I'm going to sacrifice my time. No, you need your time too to be your best version. Yeah. Like, make sure everybody gets
I imagine
time.
that's more challenging with that many kids, because it's challenging for me with just 2.
I love what you're saying, and I preach that as well. I would add to that for mom with big family, to make sure to make time for her partner. Because
forget about
they get lost.
Stephanie,
and
make time for your partner.
And eventually, take it from me, they leave.
Yes, and
with their partners,
and
then it's just you two, and you don't want to be stuck at that point, and you don't know one another.
Right.
So my husband and I have always, and I love that they can see us, that we still love each other, that we smooch a lot, that we want to go on date nights, and they have contributed to that because now they can watch their little ones. Their little siblings.
What do your littler ones do when you and your husband are smooching? What's the reaction from the little ones? It's
Oh
hysterical, like all the different reactions we get.
They're just like, oh Lord, again, you guys again. So, they just find it funny.
So I've got the middle ones are like, ew, and Devin just thinks me and Dad just are.
How old is Devin?
Devin's 16, and in her mind, me and her dad are just hornballs and never stop. And I don't know why she has this conception of like everything. But,
you don't know why.
Well, I mean,
you're not telling us why, and that's okay.
Look,
we don't need details.
A lot of it's made up in her mind. Like, if the door is shut, she automatically assumes the worst. Whereas the little ones, if the door's shut, they don't care what's going on. They want it and they want to know.
Yeah.
But when James and I are hugging or kissing, especially Eli, he just runs up and he has to get involved. And we're like, my husband will be like, I can't even cop a feel without one of the kids trying to do it first, because they're so funny. Devin thinks it's gross.
Making
the boys
time for intimacy when you have that many kids,
it's hard.
That's also got to be an added challenge to this whole equation.
Have fingerprint locks on our doors now. You have to use your fingerprint to get into our room.
Wait, that's a thing?
That is. I highly recommend them.
On regular interior
doors?
Yeah.
Yes. You can have an emergency passcode and a fingerprint. So if you do not have me or James's fingerprint, you cannot get in.
Okay, I think that is the most life-changing thing I have heard for parents.
Yes, get a fingerprint lock.
Okay.
Yeah. We just tease ours and say that we're celebrating our marital sacraments. So you can't get in. So they just don't. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean,
I would.
Getaways.
To be honest.
I have very involved parents. That's a plus, I feel. So when the older ones couldn't stay home alone, which now they can, I would say getaways. Our bedrooms are far apart, but I mean, just get creative, It's not, especially if the connection stays alive. That's why that baseline of staying connected is important. You can't have intimacy if you guys are
You'll
not
never
connecting.
get to kid number 6 otherwise.
Exactly.
I think people think that you guys are just like doing it like bunnies because you're making so many babies. Is that another misconception? Where
Of course.
Or is it true?
We're just
I have 5 kids, and because of our family, makeup, no 2 children have the same exact parents.
What?
Because it's a yours, mine, ours, adopted, and no, out of 5 kids, there's not a single one that has the same mother and father.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But you're an
They
excuse.
do. For everyone that wants to know. Yeah, the people that ask me randomly in the street, they all have the same dad. Yes.
So
yes, they do.
Talk about the benefits of this, because I was wondering, are they going to say that there are more challenges or more benefits?
No.
I truly believe my youngest was meant to be an only child, but he was the last one, so he's out of luck. But he loves his siblings. He craves a lot of attention. But he's learning to cooperate more. He's learning to sacrifice his attention. the older ones, even like I said, even when it's like they're parentified to the point where it's on my nerves, they're learning to love and nurture and take care. So I see so many benefits. And again, we make sure they each have their own sport and they each have their own time. So I don't feel like we're sacrificing a whole lot with this many kids. I mean, we make sure that they're each getting the best childhood experience that we can possibly give. And I don't think if we had one or two, we'd be doing anything that differently.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think that it's perspective, right, in parenting, because your 2 can feel like 5 for you, right? Because there may be different challenges in your life at that moment. So I feel like it's challenging either way. Even if you have one, there's things that we are going to find that are challenging.
Like, 5, that's so hard. I'm like, it was
One
hard when I
is
had
hard.
one.
Well,
Like, my
people
first
say
was
once
hard.
you have 2 or 3, it's like now it's easier because they take care of themselves.
Yeah, you're outnumbered. But the benefits for me personally, which I always tell people, is my house is a party all the time.
Yeah.
You guys can stop by any time and there is
and
a
you're
party.
literally dancing. Like you've talked about that before.
I love dancing. We love music. I'm going to the Bad Bunny concert with my daughter and her boyfriend. Like, we do a lot of things together. So although I love my friends, I say that they're my built-in BFFs too. Memorial Day was like a party. All of us, we have a group chat called the Belen Weirdos where I'm literally laughing all day long. So they just bring so much love and light. Sure, we have issues. We have things that we have to resolve as a family, things that we have to overcome. But when I think about it, this was just meant to be for us.
Well, how has being a mom to so many kids changed you both? Because you talked a little bit, Stephanie, about how it changed your kids.
Yeah, like I said, I had to start focusing a lot on like finding time for me, doing my hobbies, but like little things like I don't flat iron my hair anymore. Obviously, I don't have time for that. That's just an extra, 30 minutes in the morning I can't spare with that many kids. So yeah, I've had to give up things, but again, I decided to have these kids. When we went into fostering, we said, reunification is the goal, but if that doesn't happen, we need to make sure that we're going to give these kids permanency outside of that. And we made these decisions. So if I have to sacrifice, a flat iron or getting my hair done,
what made you want to make that decision?
With fostering?
Yeah.
I truly feel everybody is one day away from a very different life. You never know what's around that corner.
So true.
And I would hope that if something, God forbid, ever happened to take my kids from me, there would be a family that would take care of them, love them, and work to get them back with me and not against me. And I just wanted to be that for somebody else.
It's amazing.
So beautiful.
Yeah. And out of all the kids, we've only had 2 that have had to have permanency with us. And we're talking, a lot of kids have been in my home. So
congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You're a good mom.
Love that.
How has it changed you? How are you different than when you
feel
had
like-
just one baby?
I feel like my one baby, we always talk about her like she's our little mascot. She made me fall in love with mothering. And that's why we have now
If she would have been a
5.
terror,
If she would have been a terror, it would have been like
one and done.
one and done. But Brianna's, such a beautiful part of our love story too. And and
you guys were young.
very young, and it's so funny because we all fight for Brianna. You should see when she walks in. All the kids, the little ones call her Baba because when they were little they couldn't say Brianna. So now you just hear the key.
So my Brianna's called Nana.
Oh my God!
You guys,
and they
that's
just
too
hear
weird.
her. They hear her, and she's such a light. So I feel that motherhood with them, it just changed me into a better version of
And you
Yamel.
keep working to be better for your kids. Like there's little things where I'm addicted to Diet Coke and my daughter wants to drink soda all the time. So I'm like, I'm going to start
Trying to be
drinking more
better for
water. Yeah,
her.
you
Set a better
constantly are trying to
example.
be better for your kids.
Each child has, and I tell moms that I'm working with, I'm like, when babies are born, so are mothers. So each time that I've had another baby, I feel like a better version of
Is
me.
that on a
So
t-shirt?
That should
I
be.
need to.
I
need
mean,
to make it on
hello.
a t-shirt. One love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Patent pending, trademark.
Thanks.
Wow.
Thanks, Anna.
Say it again.
When babies are born, so are mothers. So each time I don't, how that whole thing that's going around propaganda, I don't subscribe to. I don't subscribe to. I lost myself in motherhood. I found a better
myself.
version. Yeah, I'm going to be chewed up and spit out some days. This morning I'm here with one earring that I don't know where it was because I was getting the little girls ready. I don't know where I left it.
I tried to feed you steak.
hangry.
You didn't want it.
It was delicious.
Maggie gave me Doritos, guys. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, I'm
Only the best.
tomorrow or tonight when we're all sitting around the table and talking about our whoopsie and our poopsie for the day, it just fills me up. And
Is that a thing? Do you have family meetings when you have those big
yes,
families?
you need family
Really?
meetings.
Do you need a boardroom
I
for it? A
don't do
conference
that.
room?
No.
Yeah,
I
let's talk
would
nuts
love
and
a,
bolts.
you know what? The only thing that I want as a big family mom
Yeah.
is a bigger kitchen and a bigger dining room.
I was going to say, what's like the bedroom situation? Are they bunking up?
So my boys are together because they're besties, but they don't need to be. We have an extra room, but because they want it together, we have them together, and then that extra room is their playroom. So and they're not huge rooms. I mean, everybody else has their own room, and then we have a guest room. I'm making it sound much larger than it is. I swear.
You have a mansion.
But we've got the guest rooms where anytime we have a foster placement, that's the we call it kind of the foster room sometimes. But the boys are together, and since they're together, we've got the playroom. And then the girls get their own space. And
Is there anything like Yamel says she wishes for a bigger kitchen?
you can never have a
ideally?
big enough
What
kitchen.
about you?
I wanted this big house and fill it with all these kids, and now I'm like, God, I want a tiny house. I want
Yes,
less floors,
less cleaning.
I
Less
want a very small house with a large kitchen and an island that everybody, because anytime
That's what
people are
everybody
over-
wants.
Yeah, anytime people
Regardless
are over,
of kids, at least if you ask me.
That's
what
where
I
everybody
want.
likes
Yeah.
to
And I
congregate.
thought my house was so huge when we bought it because it had this kitchen that ran the whole length and this little like counter that people. No, I wanted its own space because again, that's we cook I could cook every night and they're always in there. So
Yeah.
How big is your dining room?
I
Like your
got
dining
Well,
table.
the dining table it holds everybody.
And do you eat together at the table every
Oh
night?
no.
You do?
Yeah, we
You
try
do?
most nights of
Wow.
the week. Can't say every single night. Fridays is always pizza, which I'm kind of, guys, I'm tired of pizza if you're
love it,
listening to
Irene.
this. But it's always pizza, but I get a break from
How
cooking.
could you be tired of pizza?
But
know, I
yeah,
never get tired of
I
pizza.
get tired
But
of it.
so
Like,
we,
it's been
we
for,
eat
it's been years.
together, and at the same time. But the kids are at the table. The older ones are at the bar, and then we're in the living room. So we're all within like yelling
Close
distance,
enough.
and we're usually
Yeah.
watching like Survivor or some show that we all watch together. That's our bonding time. We talk so much outside of dinner. We don't really feel the need to sit down. Every so often the kids will get like a wild hair and they're like, can we sit down and have like a traditional dinner? And we will, and we'll pass it. But that happens
cute.
like once or twice a year. And then they're like, yeah, I'd rather watch TV.
What about
All right,
bathrooms?
I feel like
I'm sorry,
the
I've got-
5-minute queue was a long time ago. What's going on with
We
the
got
time?
1 minute.
We got 1 minute.
But I wanna
Deanna
know
has a
how many
very important
bathrooms.
question about bathrooms.
Three full bathrooms, and that's what it takes to deal with this many people. At our lake house, we have 2 bathrooms, but one's only a half bath. So we have to, we call it the poop closet because it's just the toilet. Because this many people, we can't have everybody pooing everywhere. So we're
Yeah.
like, if you got to go to, you go to the poop closet, and then that way showering and number 1 is in the other.
No,
All right.
no mansion, just 2. And the only thing that I would change is like, I would love to have them all stay with me forever.
Aw. Well, we all know that can't happen. But in the meantime, you're enjoying your great, big, beautiful families. And I applaud you, mamas,
Well, you
for
too.
doing such a great job.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.